Hello, everyone, and welcome to Danvers Insider. This is the first episode of our new DCAT show, and I am Greg Dolan, the Executive Director of Danvers Community Access Television. So the quick preview of what you're going to see tonight, we have 3 segments ready for you. The first one will be called In Your Backyard, where Karen Halloran of Marquis Health Services will talk about some of the exciting things they have going on, both that they've done in the past and they have coming up in the next month or so. The next segment will be a community update featuring John Call and Lyla Harrod from DanversCARES, where they'll be talking about the community Narcan distribution program. And then the final segment we have tonight will be Member Files, where one of our members, Jonathan Pellerin, will be talking all about his photography work and his creative process. So thank you for watching Danvers Insider, and I'm going to throw it to David Rodriguez.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Danvers Insider. My name is David Rodriguez. I am the Public Access Coordinator here for DCAT. And this segment is In Your Backyard. We have Karen Halloran joining us from Marquis Health Services.
David.
Karen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Absolutely. This is the first episode of this filming. This is the first segment. And it's in your backyard because I really want people at home to feel as though that they're at least made aware of things that are going on within their community, the surrounding communities, that they may be able to take advantage of, or just there's stuff going on. And I think that can be especially important in February, where it's a lot colder outside, so people tend to potentially bundle up and they don't really want to go outside. Some people may stay at home and they may watch the Super Bowl, for example, but if I remember correctly, Super Bowl may have a different meaning to what you're thinking. Is that correct?
It does. We most recently hosted a Super Bowl, a play on words for the Super Bowl that just happened, and we raised all kinds of cans. We got everybody to donate cans, and we're donating all of the food to Beverly Bootstraps because we found, there is such a need for the local food pantries in the community. So we're trying to bring awareness to that and try and get other people to donate food.
That's perfect. I mean, food pantries, we're fortunate enough to have a really good partnership with the one here in Danvers. And when it comes to food specifically, I think a lot of us, and I throw myself in there as well, we can take for granted just where that next meal is coming from, where that next bite of food is coming from. So to have something that can, just benefit that sort of aspect of, hey, this is a great cause. People are going to be able to take advantage of it, because that's one thing about a food pantry is, it's going to be put to good use. You know that for sure.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So now we're going to potentially look a little further, or excuse me, more of the present right now.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, you have some events you'd like to touch on?
I would. Well, this month is the American Heart Association's month for heart health awareness and the fight against heart disease and stroke in women. So we have some upcoming events in the community.
Perfect.
They're flashing it on the screen here. We have ABCD Senior Center in Boston on February 14th from 12 to 2. Danvers Council on Aging, February 18th from 2:30 to 4. Saugus Public Library, February 19th, 10:30 to 12:30. Danvers YMCA, February 26th, 8:30 to 11:30. And Beverly Council on Aging from February 28th, 10 to 12. We'll be hosting Healthy Heart tables around the community, and at these tables we'll have Healthy Heart snacks and giveaways and tips and recipes, because we really want to just raise awareness. Did you know that 80% of cardiac events can be prevented?
80%.
80%. And cardiovascular disease continues to be a woman's greatest health threat. So we're trying to follow the American Heart Association guidelines and their campaign so that we can bring awareness. And we just had Go Red Day. So we've been lighting it up red in social media. We had everybody in our centers wearing red in honor of that on February 7th.
That's wonderful. So these events that you touched on, some of the dates you shared, those are open to the public?
They're open to the public, so feel free to stop by and join in and see what we have to offer.
Yeah, and I think that's, you could say this about a lot of issues. For circumstances like this where these are educational pieces. They're meant for people to just be aware of, made aware of.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation, and all of us we all find ourselves in these situations where we find out too late about something, or we find out about a health issue potentially that we could have prevented. You said 80%, is that correct?
80%.
That's 4 out of 5 people. There's 5 people in the studio right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
So just to hear that number, it's staggering. And a lot of it, again, just may be a lack of understanding, a lack of awareness. So to go to these events, to have information, have healthy snacks. Nobody's going to complain about snacks. I guarantee you about that.
Exactly.
So that's wonderful. So thank you for providing that to the community.
Yes. And we're always trying to, be doing different things, to raise awareness in the community. So as March approaches, we're going to have some other different things that we're doing. And March is National Women's History Month.
Oh.
So we're going to be posting articles about women in the industry and how they got in the field, why they remain in the field, and what they see for the future. So I'm going to be looking for different women in the community, different people to try and interview and find out what's going on with them.
That's perfect. March is right around the corner. We forget. February is such a short month. I think today's the 13th.
Exactly.
And so we're talking about 2 weeks away right now.
Right.
We're already looking towards March. So that's wonderful. Is there anything else going in March?
We
that you'd
do.
like to be
We
made
have
aware of?
National Nutrition Month, so we'll be working with our dietitians and giving out tips to live a healthier lifestyle and eating healthier. We can all use that.
Absolutely.
So we're always looking to, bring up some of these different things because maybe there wouldn't be awareness without them.
Right.
So March 8th through the 14th is Pulmonary Rehab Week. And this week we're going to be celebrating pulmonary programs and the dedicated respiratory therapists who staff them. So we'll be getting out different information about that also in the community.
Wonderful.
And then March 9th through the 13th is Long-Term Care Administrators Week. So we'll be getting out special featured stories about, you'll get to know our administrators, and we have a new administrator, Rudy Joseph. He's up at Blueberry Hill, great guy. And Carly Vega is our administrator at the Brentwood. So you'll be getting to learn a little bit more about them as well.
Perfect. So we're coming up on a little short time right now. So Karen, thanks again for joining us. And the reason we know Karen is because Karen has a program here at Danvers Community Access Television. And I'd love if you could just inform the viewers at home a little bit about what that program is.
Sure. Well, it's just helping people navigate through the healthcare system. So in the upcoming episodes, you'll see I have somebody coming on speaking about fraud prevention. I have a life care manager coming on, home health care agencies. There's something for everyone. So please tune in.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find that on our website, danverstv.org. Karen, she does a phenomenal job, and she brings in experts in the field. So you can be, you can feel rest assured that the information that you're giving is from an accurate source. Just because, again, they are the experts within the field. So Karen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And our next segment on Danvers Insider, we're going to have a community update. We're going to send it over to John Call in just a moment. So John is there with Lyla Harrod. John, please take it away.
Thank you, David. So before we talk about the opioid crisis here in town, I want to give you a little bit of background, a little bit of information. In 2017, the most recently tracked national statistics, 47,000 people died from an opioid overdose. That's 68% of all drug-related deaths. Here, a little bit closer in Massachusetts, we had 2,000 people die from that. Here in Danvers, we had 9,000 people, and our next-door neighbors, Beverly and Peabody, respectively, had 11 and 23. Between the time period of 2013 and 2017, we had 29 opioid deaths. Beverly had 56, and Peabody had 70. Those numbers are staggering. They really are. And it's important to note that opioid overdoses can be from prescription medication taken as directed. It happens a lot with higher doses and when it's taken with an additional sedative. But it can also be from illegal drugs like heroin or opium or fentanyl. So I'm here today with Lyla Harrod from DanversCARES. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And you've got a great program going on. Why don't you tell everybody what it's all about?
Sure. We just started the Community Narcan Distribution Program. So the idea is that we're able to get Narcan into the hands of community members. By offering it at no cost, we're reducing barriers to access that people might have. Right now, you can get Narcan through going to your pharmacy. If you have insurance, bring your insurance card with you. You're allowed to purchase it that way. But there can be some, there's some difficulty that can be presented because of that, in addition to the cost that it presents. So this way, by offering it through our public health department, we are able to get into people's hands without any risk of running into insurance issues down the line, and it also gives us a really good opportunity to educate people about what they can do in an overdose situation. So rather, it's a really simple process, and public health nurse Judith Ryan will walk all the people through who get trained. Basically, you can just call Judith Ryan. She's the public health nurse here in town. Her office is over at the Danvers Senior Center. You can make an appointment with her, and you can at that time show up to her office. She'll walk you through some of the main steps and how to use Narcan, how to look for signs of an overdose, and then what are the things that you're supposed to do to give the person the best chance of surviving the ordeal.
So, Narcan has been around in Danvers for several years now. All the policemen carry it, all the firemen carry it, all the first responders, and Judith does have it over at her office, the public health office, which is at the senior center. And but your program, the DanversCARES program, is really trying to get it into the hands of someone who might not have an opioid prescription, someone who might not be an illicit drug user, somebody who may not know anybody in that environment, but may come upon someone in that situation just in happenstance, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's a big piece around stigma as well. I think you made a really great point by pointing out the prescription medications can cause an overdose as well. I think that people don't think about that. That's a really good reason to get Narcan or to carry it. Isn't, just because you have an addiction, there can be accidental overdoses. A lot of them are. So by giving people, letting people know that it's normalized to carry Narcan, whether it's because you have a prescription, maybe you have a loved one, a friend, or you just want to be a good Samaritan, I think that we're helping reduce stigma around using it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is so important. Some of the prescription drugs, morphine, Demerol, oxycodone, those are prescribed by a doctor for typically an injury that is a painful injury, and my understanding is that opioids work by telling your brain that you aren't in pain. And it also causes your lungs to cease breathing. And that's why one of the signs is, if I understand it correctly, is very, very shallow breathing and almost a snoring kind of sound.
Exactly. And you can check the nail beds as well. If they're turning blue or grayish, look at their lips. That means that there's a lack of oxygen getting to them because of the respiratory issues.
Right.
And that's why, along with the Narcan, we also give people CPR masks, because you should be administering rescue breaths along with that. But all of that comes with the training.
Right, and it's, I've seen, there's a PSA that will be...
In the hands of your child or something like that, there is no danger to that. So carrying it is, the only, it can do nothing but benefit you and the rest of the community members around you.
That's great. Now, DanversCARES, you're administering the program, but it's through the health department, correct?
Yeah, so it's a really, it is a true community collaboration, and we, I think it's important to notice that DanversCARES is using some funding from a federal grant that we have through the Comprehensive Addiction Recoveries Act. We are, the Danvers Police Department is helping us get access to the Narcan at wholesale prices to help keep our prices down, so that we're able to offer it for free. And obviously Judith and the public health, people are actually doing the education and doing the, disbursement of the products and education.
That's excellent. So I think right there you heard 3 different ways to get more information if you would like it. From DanversCARES directly, from the police department, or from Judith at the health department over at the senior center, correct?
Yeah.
That's excellent. Any other information you want to share with us?
No, I just think that if this is a really good opportunity, and even if you don't directly know somebody who is having a substance use issue, you can be there on somebody's worst day of their life and help make a difference. So I employ you to take advantage of this program.
That's excellent. Okay, thank you, Lyla, for being here today. Thanks for participating in this program and initiating it and using your grant money to fund this program so that people don't have to spend their own money to save someone's life. That's very important.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so we have a PSA on this to further your education, and when we come back, David will continue.
Cool. Thank you. Essentially serves as an antidote to an opioid overdose.
Designed to rapidly reverse an opioid overdose.
Medication that comes in a couple of different forms, but we know it as a spray. We know it as Narcan nasal spray.
It's a life-saving drug.
Opioids block the pain message from the body to the brain, so it's a highly addictive drug. A number of overdoses affect a lot of families, deteriorate a lot of families in our town, specifically, in some cases, property crimes, some public disorder crimes.
What people do not understand is substance use is a disease. Just like any other disease, it's not something that they can control, just like they cannot control any other diseases that they have.
Chief Ambrose and the Danvers Police Department have partnered with PARI, the PARI program, which is Police Assisted Addiction Recovery Initiative. The chief in the department has trained multiple town employees how to use Narcan. Narcan has been placed in these buildings, such as town hall, schools, library, to name a few.
A couple of years ago, we started putting it into the different schools in town. Now we're looking to outreach and do the library, the senior center, and other different public buildings.
It allows us to offer additional help for these citizens that are affected by an overdose or by addiction. It can also be purchased at your local pharmacy. It can be very expensive. 2 doses averages between $120 to $140. Now with our partnership with PARI and DanversCARES will be offering opportunity for Narcan.
You know, in an effort to make sure that that's not cost prohibitive, especially for people who don't have health insurance. That's why we're trying to bring free Narcan out to any community member. We also are creating this new free option where you can get Narcan directly from the public health nurse, Judith Ryan, who's centered out of the Danvers Senior Center over at 25 Stone Street.
So they would need to call me, make an appointment. They'd come in, I would go over signs and symptoms, how to use it. So I'd do the whole education, and then I'll be able to give them.
So naloxone is only used in an opioid overdose. If you just took naloxone or Narcan and squirted it up your nose, applied it how you're supposed to, but you weren't going through an opioid overdose, nothing would happen. The symptoms of an opioid overdose are that they will be unresponsive, they may not be breathing or have extremely slow breathing. They could also be turning blue or gray. You can look at the lips and the fingernail, the beds of the fingernails for that coloring.
They have pinpoint pupils, very pale, ashen look to them, lower heart rate, and what we call sonorous breathing. It's very shallow and slow breathing that almost sounds like they are snoring.
Calling 911, administering the Narcan, administering rescue breaths, and then staying with that person, you're giving that person the best chance to survive this ordeal.
This that we have now is very, very simple. So it comes out of the package very easily. There is no cap on it at all. You're going to take it, you're going to put your 2 fingers, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to push the plunger and you're going to spray it.
Sometimes more is necessary. All of our officers carry Narcan. Our fire department and firefighters carry Narcan, and obviously our EMTs in town as well.
Wish that people would start realizing and have an open mind. Narcan is a life-saving medication.
Also, it's a great thing for just everybody to know how to do, because if you're just out in public and come across somebody who's overdosing, you could be that person who saved somebody's life.
Which camera's going to be up? Welcome back to Danvers Insider. So once again, this is David Rodriguez, and I'm here with Jonathan Pellerin today for our Member Files segment. So Member Files is going to be a section where we highlight members who, this specific time is more of it's more of passion, creative aspect. And Jonathan is a photographer. Jonathan's done a lot of photography. He's done some work for us in a lot of filming events, whether it's basketball games, different meetings, just different events around town. And today we're going to touch on Jonathan's photography, though. So Jonathan, thank you for joining me today, and welcome to the program.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get into why you enjoy photography. What sort of aspects of it do you like the most?
I don't know, just like I love traveling, and so like it's always great to be able to like take pictures of like the things you see, like especially like when you're going like away to like other sides of the country. I don't know, I like to savor those moments.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better way to savor a moment, I suppose, than an actual a photograph of it.
Exactly.
Do you have a preference in terms of what you do shoot? Do you prefer people as subjects or just open space, scenery?
I mean, I guess I prefer the city, cause
Okay.
but I do like people, I do like animals, like I do everything.
Yeah, I know. I just from seeing a lot of your work, because again, you borrow equipment and you come back and first thing you do is you always show myself or you show Ginny at the front desk, and we do appreciate it. We enjoy it because it's really cool to see what people can make, especially when they have that creative perspective. So you touched on just people subjects. I've seen plants as well, or like flowers. I've seen different subjects like that. It all looks awesome. So you're doing great work.
Thank you.
So do you have any sort of projects in the future that you feel like you want to explore? So you said you mentioned traveling. Can you think of a place where you'd like to travel to just to have the opportunity to shoot some photos?
Maybe like the northern part of like Alaska.
Oh, okay.
Maine. Like the glaciers.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Or like New York. That'd be pretty cool as well.
Awesome. So now we're actually going to take a peek at some of Jonathan's work. So I believe we're going to throw up a photo. Okay, awesome. So we have our first photo here. Jonathan, are you able to just touch on what it is we're looking at for the viewers at home?
So that is like a compilation of like a bunch of pictures I took during the total lunar eclipse last year. And so like what I did is like I stayed up, and for each and every like phase of like the eclipse, I copied and pasted it onto one photo and to show like the transition.
Awesome. So yeah, so to just to make it clear, so each one of those phases is its own individual photo. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's awesome. So what do you like about this sort of that specific type of project? Because obviously it takes more time, right? Because you're not just taking one photo and just walking away.
Right, exactly.
You do kind of have to, lack of a better term, just kind of plant yourself and get the right perspective. And each photo, you have to have a similar composition, because if you turn yourself slightly one angle, it's going to look different when you try to line them up like that. So what do you enjoy about that sort of like, hey, this is going to. Do you see the big picture when you're making a photo like that, I guess?
Yeah, like I know how like I want to lay it out. It's just a matter of like getting it all to work, I guess. And I just like doing big projects.
Awesome. So now let's take a peek at the next photo. So let's see what we have here. All right, awesome. Jonathan, what are we looking at here?
So that's a photo of my friend. We were going out into Boston to do some like photo shoots, and we came across this place in Boston called Graffiti Alley, and I just love the way and how like the light like shines down on him with the shadows and all that. So
yeah, no, you're 100% right. The way Graffiti Alley, can't think of a better name for it.
Yeah.
But just the way that the colors pop from the wall behind him to the subject itself, and then you factor in the lighting, it almost looks like it almost looks like you put a spotlight on him. But I'm guessing my assumption is it might be some sort of like street lamp or something there. But just the way it contrasts from where he's standing right there to, like 4 feet to his left, where it's just in complete shadows, and you can see just the way the colors pop differently on the wall.
Right.
And I think that looks awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so let's take a peek at the next photo that we have.
All right, so that was taken in. I was doing a photo shoot with one of my friends, and we went up to the top of the Prudential Tower, and just seeing like Boston. I'm not really exactly sure where that is in Boston, but it's from the view of the Prudential Tower, and I thought it was like really cool because like the shadows and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on how you enjoy shooting cities, and I think what I love about perspectives like this, you touched on the shadows, how we can see for so long, and yet, like each area does have its own sort of different appeal, its own different look, because of the way like the buildings interact with each other, the way, like the sun might look at this building and it creates a shadow over here. So especially from the perspective of the overhead of the road, just going down, you can see like where all the shadow markers are. And what I enjoy about your work is just how different something like this can look from previous to what we just saw, and even right before that. So we went from one subject shot, I forget how many different sequences there were, maybe like 25 or so, to one individual subject in the graffiti alley to the cityscape there, where you can see more of an overhead perspective of everything going on.
Right.
So I think that shows variety, and that's, again, a compliment to you, so well done.
Thank you.
So let's see what else we have there. Okay.
So this was taken in Arizona in Death Vet. I forget the name of the place, but I just love the perspective and like the vanishing point in this. So I thought it was a shot of a lifetime for me.
Where were you physically? Were you inside of a car here when you shot this, or?
So we actually stepped out of the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were on the road itself. That's.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the way it almost looks, just the way the road looks. And a lot of this is, you do a really good job just playing with the focus on the camera. So just seeing how the road it looks, just how it differentiates as you continue to go down the road.
Right.
And then you can see even in the background, it looks almost like it's a painting.
Yeah, exactly.
This perspective really looks like it's a painting. That's awesome. All right, so let's see what else we have for Jonathan. I believe we have one more in the file right there. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So this was around the Grand Canyon, and I chose this one because of the way the light is shining down on that certain part of the rock. You know, everything else is just black. Again, I love playing with shadows and light, and this really stuck out to me.
Yeah, that looks great. I mean, the shadows, we talked about it for the previous photos as well. Shadows are they're so much fun to play with because they really dictate so much in regards to the mood of a photo.
Right.
You know, like we touched on the graffiti alley one. If that's shot in the middle of the day where the sun is just beaming down on someone, as opposed to, you know, like later when there might be shadows on someone, it's going to create two different perspectives for the audience at home.
Exactly.
I mean, I talk about that a lot when I'm training people, like even here in the studio, just how much lighting can show, because the audience, when they're reading a photo, when I say reading, I mean, you know, just taking in like visually, when they're reading a photo, when they're reading a television show, however that's lit, that's going to tell them at home how to feel. You know, like we're sitting here on these two stools, but if we start turning off all these lights and we have one spotlight on us, and somebody turns on to the channel right now, they're going to think I'm interrogating you. And it's so much fun to realize that you have that much control, that much power over a photo. And I believe that's all we have for member files right now. So Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today. Best of luck in the future. We look forward to seeing more of your work.
Thank you.
All right, so that finishes us with member files right now. I believe we're going to send it back to Greg Dolan to send us home. So Greg, are you there? Can you hear me? Are you able to take it away?
I am here. Thank you, David. And thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been Danvers Insider. This is our first episode. This is a live program that we will be doing once a month. So if you're interested in volunteering behind the scenes or on camera, we're always looking for people to come by and help. Or if you have a really good story, something you know or someone you know in town that's really someone who's doing important work, or an organization that's going above and beyond, we'd love to talk to them. We'd love to have you on. Just reach out to us. You can visit our website at www.danverstv.org and find our contact information on there. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Greg Dolan, and have a great night. Thanks. Bye. Okay, I had no idea if I was on. I was just staring at the camera for a second. That's fine.